this dial just shows like the trade-offs and the privacy benefit, as you go through. But Ken, to your question, Amazon can build a pretty complete picture of your life, your interests, and your habits just based on the data that you're providing to it. And what it then does is it tries to predict what you're going to want next, and it's going to try to send you across all of the different avenues that it can advertisements for things that it thinks you should want or you do want or that it's predicting you will want in the future. And it's not just that when you're on Amazon this happens. This is how you get like the Amazon ad like I got showing up in my email that was super creepy when I was at the doctor's office telling me I should use Amazon Pharmacy. They have connections through the ad exchange with Meta. They have, so this is part of how we get these creepy ads is because Amazon, like Facebook and Instagram and all those others, knows so much about us and predicts what we're going to do next. And it was actually really interesting as I was putting together this next series. This is a work in progress. This is going to be the next quest that's going to drop as a part of the initiative. And this is about Amazon. And what's interesting about it that I want to show you guys is the number of connected product subscriptions, apps, and services that's within the Amazon world. So all of these are connected together, and all of these are feeding into any profile you might have with the mothership Amazon. So if you use Amazon Prime, the Amazon shopping app, Visa, Alexa, or Echo, Ring, Kindle, Audible, Fire TV, if you are going to Whole Foods, if you're using Twitch. This one blew me away, but Emma went, oh yeah, I know about that. IMDb is a part of the Amazon family now. Amazon Music, Photos, Pharmacy, all of those are feeding information into your profile. And this is how they know so much about you. And this is why you think they've been listening to your conversations. They haven't really. It's just they know so much about you. They have a good sense of what you're going to do next. And they start sending you and sometimes they send you advertisements trying to prompt you or nudge you to do things. And then you think you're the one who came up with it. But actually, it's because when you were scrolling through Facebook or when you were on your Audible account or whatever, it was feeding you stuff that you didn't really realize you were watching or looking at, but then it was. So these are all the data sets that it gets. And I'll just pause there a second to ask if there's any questions about this or what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Thoughts
I actually
so
have
far?
a question. I actually have a question for Emma. Okay. The rest of us have lived in a world before Amazon. Okay. But you pretty much have lived in a world where there's been Amazon and Instacart and stuff like that your whole life. Mm-hmm. Okay. The privacy issues seem to be more for us older people. Do you think like, you know what, this is part of life, and so it's part of the trade-off, but there's no way that I would live in a world or want to live in a world without Amazon?
It's a great question.
Great question.
I think there's probably disagreement across my generation on it. I think I feel frustrated that I have to choose. Like, I feel very frustrated that I've never had privacy my entire life and that I never got to consent to any of it. And at the same time, I also don't know what it's like to not be able to get whatever I want on same day delivery. So it's like, I think that's, the struggle I face, and I think a lot of people face. I think it comes down to resources as far as like protecting your privacy. I think a lot of like young people are so focused on like their careers and where they're going in life that they don't always feel they have the energy or resources to do what they know instinctively they should do to protect their privacy. But I do think every single one of them can agree that there's something sinister and there's a problem and it is dangerous. So I think, and this might be projection because it's how I feel, but I think a lot of people would rally behind legislation and like a complete change in how in law and what corporations are able to do. And then I think the rest of it is kind of fatalistic. I think that it's that classic like Gen Z. There's no hope. Who cares? I'm gonna start smoking cigarettes again because we're all gonna die. And I think it goes back to that philosophy for a lot of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very well put, Emma.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Other questions?
And
Ken,
you have Instacart coming in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I don't know a world really. I don't really remember a world outside of that. Like, I think we are sort of like, our brains are trained to expect instant gratification in a lot of ways. Like, I remember ordering something that I needed for the next day, and then I remember, like, the next week trying to do it again for something and being, like, extremely put out. Like, what do you mean it's going to get here on Thursday? It should get here on Wednesday. And so I think, like, we're spoiled in that sense.
I go to my daughter's house, and there's always a couple of boxes sitting at the front door of stuff that they ordered.
But even that is kind of frustrating because I look at like Amazon shopping and gambling as sort of like the two things that are being completely predatory to young minds. Is like they're just helping people become completely addicted to these hits that they can get from their couch. And so I think like a lot of young women are buying things maybe they can't afford, and a lot of young men are gambling things that maybe they can't afford, and like I think it's actually a huge problem for a lot of young people culturally.
And to add on to what Emma said, that goes back to your original question about who cares about Amazon, is that these predictive profiles that Amazon and the other, big platforms are creating, they are creating them with the intention of trying to get you to buy as much stuff as possible. So they are shaping you to be into the ultimate consumers, whether you want to be a consumer or not be a consumer. It's like, ooh, you must have this latest skincare. Ooh, you must have this latest toy. Ooh, you must have this latest,
Yeah.
And it's easy to underestimate how much they're shaping us because we've grown so used to it. We're like the frog in the boiling water. We don't even realize how much the water is boiling right now unless we actually take a step back and experience what it feels like to not be shaped by an algorithm.
What's interesting to me is you look at Madison Avenue and demographics and how they absolutely now don't give a shit about people who are older than 49. 18 to 49 is their big target. And the reason that they don't care is because the feeling of Madison Avenue is that people our age are locked into our brands. Okay? If you're young, they can persuade you to get a different toothpaste. But if you're 50, that's it. You are a Colgate person for the rest of your life. So, in a sense, I mean, either Amazon is proving this out, that people buy and have the exact same patterns, or they're proving Madison Avenue wrong, that people in their 50s still are amenable to different choices and different brands.
Do you feel that way, Ken? Like, would you go and switch your toothpaste?
Totally. Totally. No. I mean, totally that I try different things.
Mm-hmm.
Someone comes along and goes, oh, hey, this is new and it's better. And I go, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I try different restaurants, you know, different things. I mean, it's always been a pet peeve of mine because, like, networks don't give a shit about my generation anymore, but my generation has the money.
I know. The other generations are going into debt.
Yeah, but Ken, I have good news for you. We've moved way beyond Madison Avenue. We've moved to the great data algorithms. And guess what? They don't care your age because it doesn't cost them any more to profile Emma than it does to profile you. And so, in the spirit of just, letting you guys get a glimpse behind the curtain about what Amazon might have on people, I am going to share with you my Amazon account and all of the different details they have on me. Keeping in mind that actually it is a blend of a couple different people because we share Prime. But it is kind of interesting, and I am a little bit like you. I wouldn't do this except for I know all of you, and you probably all know this stuff about me anyway. But I'm going to share my screen and show you how to do it in case you want to go onto your Amazon account and see how they've categorized you.
You can access
Yep.
your Amazon profile.
Yep. Well, you can access what categories they're using on you because they actually want you to update it so that they can be more in tune with what you want. Which, if you don't care, that could be a tremendous service. Like, yay, I'm going to tell them exactly what I want and I'll only get what I want. But it also will really silo you, right? So I wouldn't recommend it. But again, everybody's going to set their privacy dial differently. But if you go on, and I'm going to share my screen again, to Amazon.com and you sign into your account. Hold on, I just minimize this instead of sharing. It's really interesting. So I'm going to show you this one. You guys all see that this is my Amazon account?
It says light tonight, love the lineup.
Yep. And already you are getting a good feel. And we'll just, you know what? This will be a play along with me sort of thing. All right. This is what Amazon shows me when I sign up. What does this say about you, about me right now? When you just look at what it's trying to push towards me right now. Just tell me some things that you would assume about me.
You've got children or grandchildren. You go to nice events. You have a printer. You use the wrong makeup remover. And
that would be that right there, which
that
is
will
true.
age you
I
so
won't
fast.
buy it again, Emma. I won't buy it again.
Thank you.
What else, Em?
You like jewelry.
Yeah. Some do you buy clothes on Amazon? Maybe potentially, or they think you will. Interestingly enough, they think you're very worried about security, and they're trying to sell you cameras. All your love murder mysteries. I'm gonna guess that's Allie's influence.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of tech accessories. One of your children likes trains. Series to continue.
So, anyways, yep. And you see, this is all organic, right? So this is just based on my previous search history, right? So that's just number one. So Amazon's got me pegged pretty good, right? So now what I'm going to do, and you guys can do this too.
Before you move on, sorry, can I just say something that I noticed that's interesting? Up here, and maybe it's just because I know your family, but up here you have, like, for a young kid, books. And then if you go down, you start getting into, like, young elementary school books. So you can actually pinpoint the age of your kids or your grandkids.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Just kind of interesting.
And keep that in mind when I show you my Twitter profile.
It doesn't necessarily have to be your kids or your grandkids, you know? I mean, you could be, Aunt Stephanie, and you're sending all these gifts to, a friend's kid.
100%. And frankly, it doesn't care. It just knows that I am interested in toys for preschoolers. And that's all it cares about. It doesn't care if it's my kid. It doesn't care if it's a grandkid, because it just wants to sell, right? Like if it's my kid, it might be more likely that I'll buy things because there's only so much. Or if it's a grandkid, maybe actually I'll buy way more because, grandparents love to, spoil their grandkids. But with that in mind, actually, let's go. So if you wanted to do this on your own, you would just hover over where it says, hello, Ken, hello, Diane, hello, Emma, account and list.
Right.
And then just select account. And then when you go to account, you'll get all these big things. Scroll past those. And there's 2 categories I'll show you real quick before our time is up: about you and your shopping preferences. So about you is all of the brands, interests, hobbies, homes, and families that it has me geared as. And we obviously won't go through all of them because it would take a long time. But basically, Nordic Naturals, cat care, owns a cat, mainly does books, reads across diverse genres, and you could go to any of these and it would list even more. But again, I'm just giving you an oversight. Appears to own a MacBook, prefers Vanicream for facial skincare, has a toddler, likely owns an iPad, favors Melissa and Doug's children toys, chooses Whole Foods 365, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lives in Stillwater, chooses Santa Margarita for wine, and so on and so forth. You can scroll down and it'll be way more interesting for you to look at your own stuff than mine. But you can see the specificity of it. And then if you go into your shopping preferences, in my case, because I've never given it, but it will try, if it could, it would get my height, my weight, my age group, all of that.
Do you have to tell them that, or it finds out through other places?
It would like you to tell it. If it can find it out through other places, it would. I cannot ever, ever, ever think of a time when I've shared any of this information online in any way.
My Amazon, for example, if I click on any type of clothing wear, it will say preferred size small. So then I've never inputted my sizes either, but I do wonder if, because I've bought a hoodie from Amazon before, if they're she got a small, she's in a small range.
I've been on Apple in the health app for my iPhone and watch. They ask your height and weight and things like that to help determine, whether 195 beats per minute is good for your heart based on your age and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I guess Apple is pretty good about privacy. So
it's pretty good right now.
That would not leak to Amazon.
No, where it could leak for Amazon is it absolutely will track any Amazon purchases that you've done on Amazon. To Emma's point about small, if I've never actually bought clothing on Amazon that I'm aware of, so that wouldn't be something that I would have. But they also say that they buy information from data brokers. So they could go to a data broker that has information about people's sizes, and they could add that then to the profile if they want to. And I didn't show this, but I am going to be creating videos. I thought I was going to have time today, but I won't have time today, so I'll have to do it tomorrow. How not only to get to what we got to, but also how to delete it. So all of that can be deleted. And when I delete it, what the trade-off will be, going back to my trade-off, is that I won't get hyper-specific ads or recommendations anymore, which some people like. Some people literally say, I love that it knows exactly what I want. And if that's what people want, then that's what people should do. I'm not going to judge them, right? But what is really important to me is that people are fully aware that Amazon knows what you buy, what you watch, what you read, what your routines are, what your home and household is, what your interests and habits are, more or less so, depending, again, on how many of its products you use on a daily basis. So, and how you have the privacy settings set for each of those different products. So for instance, if you've got Ring, you can make it less invasive, but its default is going to be to send everything to the mothership. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, more than anything else, what Amazon is is they want to sell you things and they want to use their advertising to sell you even more things. And so everything is going to work towards their business model. They are not in the nonprofit world looking to do good. They are looking to make money.